Do you think that this extended layoff is going to help your team more than others? Just given the flurry of midseason moves that you guys had.
Yeah, I mean, in a minor way, I think people obviously, want to. There's not much news right now except news that people want to talk about, which is, dealing with a really horrible pandemic. But I would say on the basketball front, all else equal, because we had a major change in the components of the team, we do think a second training camp benefits us, because when you're integrating a starter onto a very good team, getting more time to drill and rep things, especially I would say on the defensive end, although offense as well, will allow us to integrate Covington in. And I do think that slightly favors us, but I think at the end of the day, everyone just lines up their players, and we're all going to be going at it.
And what are some things that you and Mike might be stressing to the team in order to make this kind of small ball experiment work here?
Yeah, I mean, we've had Zoom calls. We haven't been able to, stress a lot to the players, because it's not like we're doing group meetings yet. I think I don't think any of the protocols even allowed that. At one point they were thinking about it. We're not going to be able to have a team meeting with everyone together until Orlando. So, I think we've had Zoom calls with the players where coach has talked about, being ready for the restart, but the major work that coach is going to do will be in Orlando, the major points of emphasis, things like that. But I do know, yeah, like on, and defense requires a lot of coordination, and, we've had some great success post trade with Covington added to the team. We've had some really bad results. And, we've studied and learned a lot from both the good and the bad, and coach is going to focus the guys on how to eliminate those mistakes. And again, defense takes more coordination. So that's where we think this extra sort of almost second training camp will help us.
It's been such a weird year already, and we all know that there's a financial element to coming back. We know that there's, platforms that players and coaches want to use for societal change. We know that's going to be a huge act in Orlando, of course. Even with all that, we don't know about next season. We know what the numbers are in Florida. We know what the numbers are in Texas. How many times a day do you find yourself questioning, is this worth it? Like, what are we doing? Are you still in that place, or are you like all in that this is absolutely the right thing to do?
Well, I think we're all human. So I think, there's and it's an experience that no one's gone through. Not a single person has been through a pandemic, I don't think. I think there's some people around in 1918, but not anyone I know. So, I think every day there's new info, and you got to make the best decision based on that info. As I talk to you right now, I think we're on the right path. We're on the right plan. But I think every day there's new information. So we'll see what comes in the future. I think if anyone's certain about anything right now, I think they're making a mistake. I think we all have to intelligently continue to understand the risks, manage the risks versus the potential outcomes, and go from there.
Hey, Daryl, just a quick two-parter. Have you guys had good success or any issues getting your test results in a timely manner? You may be aware that's an issue for Major League Baseball. And then as the second part of it, without these meetings that you said you just can't have at this point, do you have any feel for where your team is just mentally with kind of approaching all of this and taking advantage of this opportunity that you feel like you have to win a championship in spite of the circumstances?
On the first one, on the testing, not to my knowledge. The results come back at different times, so I think that has to do with maybe the different backlogs that the testing centers that our tests are going through have experienced. So, we've had some come back, very early in the day. The following day, we've had some take much later into the late afternoon. That's my memory. I wish Keith was on, but that's from my memory. But overall, obviously the testing is a blessing and allows us to create a safe environment. And so, or as safe as possible. So that's been good. In terms of the team, I mean, the team has, with the exception now of 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗪, who, for reasons he can answer, decided to opt out. And again, that's what I said earlier. I think I like that everyone had a personal choice in what they wanted to do. And the strong feeling that Mike and I have gotten throughout on our Zoom calls have been of a team with a mission that are excited to do this. But I think I actually have found it a little surprising reading some of the other accounts of maybe lots of players not wanting to go. But I think a lot of that, to be fair, is the different situation. If you're fighting to be one of the 5 teams to make it in, that changes your perspective versus a team that's hoping to go there and win the title.
Are you going to Orlando?
Yes, yeah, I'll be there from day one. I think it would be pretty bad to ask the players to do something that I'm not doing.
And then the second question, basically the last 20% of the regular season and the entire postseason will be played without fans. Have you started to project out what the salary cap may look like next year and then years after?
Part of my job is to try and anticipate those things. It's extremely difficult at this point. A lot of the variables only the league office has, for example, and that data is not coming yet. Not because they're holding it back. I just think they just don't have it. So we've done our own best guess. That said, we have a pretty locked-in team. I think we have a very good locked-in team, so we're comfortable with it. But we don't have a lot of moving parts in terms of whether or not we'll need cap room or not. We're probably going to have a mid-level, if in most scenarios. So I think it's not as relevant. But so long story short, no, I don't have that info. We have tried to look at it, but our main conclusion is it's probably not going to impact us too much in terms of our ability to add players and things like that.
You've mentioned a couple of times your comfort level with the plan. And I just wanted to ask you, what is it about the plan that gives you that comfort? I mean, what is it that you've seen or heard or know that makes you feel comfortable that this is a good thing or that it could be a workable thing?
Well, I'd say obviously there's been a lot of discussions with the league office. I know the people who are behind the plan. I know they're very diligent. Like I mentioned to Tracy, we're on memo 87 of protocols and everything we're following. And so, I think very hardworking, smart people who, I think have the right objectives in mind, yield the best result possible. So I do feel comfortable. We have the best plan in a tough situation. Does that make the situation perfect? No, but yeah, I do think a lot of work has been put into this. Testing every 2 days, testing every 1 day, leading to leaving to Orlando Thursday. It's about as safe as you can get.
So I talked to Coach D'Antoni, and he said that talking to you and trying to plan, the optimal number for rotation was 9. Can you expand on some of that thinking behind it?
The optimal number of what? Sorry, say again.
Rotation, like.
Oh.
9. So can you expand on that?
Yeah, that was interesting. It is true. We provide a lot of information to Mike, and what I love about Mike is that he can take that in and make the right call. I mean, you guys know how we work. We work backwards from what gives us the best chance to win the game, win the series. A wider rotation to take advantage of matchups. Sometimes that means narrower. I think you saw versus Golden State, both of us were playing our players, 42 to 45 minutes every game, and unfortunately took a toll on both of us. In both the years we we did that. But frankly, both of us worked out, Mike and Coach Kerr, that was the best. That was our only chance to win. So I think it varies by series. It varies by how likely we are to win or how unlikely. I mean, it varies. But for sure, Mike is very proactive in asking us for as much info as we can give him to help make the right call for each game and each series.
What went into the decision to add David 𝗪𝗧𝗛, in place of Isaiah Hartenstein?
Yeah, so David, we think, has a really, really good potential. And obviously you saw that had both a this year and a future component. You guys have gotten a good sense of how we're playing now and the kinds of players we need for that style. We are fully committed to that with Coach and the players we have. And David 𝗪𝗧𝗛, we think, fits that very, very well. And, and we, unfortunately, given the rules, we had to cut somebody. And I do think Isaiah is going to go on to be a very good player. But at least likely not here originally. I told Isaiah when we moved on that we've sadly cut lots of really good players, like the guy we just traded for back. So sometimes players need playing time somewhere where they can get it before we can get them back. It's very hard to get into our rotation, so it's very hard for young players to show what they can do. And the nice thing about 𝗪𝗧𝗛 is he's had a lot of run with Brooklyn, especially, to show that he can fit and do what we need here.